The psychology of choice. Why are we so scared to let go of the wheel? That's what we're talking about in today's episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast, coming at you next.
You're listening to the Steve Freeman Podcast, the real, raw truth about the pursuit of success in music, business, and life. Here's your host, hit songwriter, multi-platinum selling producer, and serial entrepreneur, Steve Freeman.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Steve Freeman. I mean, seriously, anybody else, and it would be a little strange. So, good to have you here. While you're here, don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, and please leave us a written review. We will be featuring them, as we often do, right here on the podcast. But in order to have your review featured, you've got to leave one. So please leave one. If you're not following me on social media, I'd love to have you do that. It's at The Steve Freeman on all social media platforms. And join my mailing list, my email list. You can do that at thestevefreeman.com. The podcast brought to you, as always, by artistdevelopmentacademy.com. Get the information, guidance, and access that you need to be successful in the modern music business. All of the online courses, brand new online course every single month. Yes, every single month. And all of them instructed and taught by hit songwriters, producers, engineers, label executives, publishing company executives, the people that you need access to be successful. We've got them all right there at the Artist Development Academy. Go check it out. Right now, you can save 30% on your annual membership. Get an entire year's worth for just $150. 30% off right now. Go to artistdevelopmentacademy.com. All right, what we're going to talk about today is the psychology of choice. And we as business owners, entrepreneurs, artists, songwriters, everybody, our reluctance to let go of the wheel and be in control. How many times have you heard the old analogy, it's impossible to fit a square peg into a round hole? Yet, those of us that are artists and producers, songwriters, business owners, entrepreneurs, we are constantly trying to fit that square peg into a round hole. We try to find every which way that we can make it fit in there. We think we know what our customers want. And in all reality, we have no clue. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the main reasons that I wanted to talk about this was the society that we live in today. We live in a I want it right now, what's next, on-demand society. Everybody has that mentality. We don't have to wait for movies anymore. We don't have to wait for music anymore. Hell, last night, Publix delivered our grocery order straight to our door. We don't have to wait on anything anymore. We don't necessarily have to constantly try to make a decision on this, that, or the other, because it's right at our fingertips at all times. And I think those of us that are business owners and entrepreneurs, even those of you that are in the music business, I'm going to say it again. If you are in the music business, you are an entrepreneur. So this covers you too. We constantly want to try to give what we want other people to have. We come up with a product. We spend so much time making the music or developing a product or creating a service with trying to think that we know what the demand is when we really have no idea. There may be a couple here and there that you think, okay, yes, I know this based on this. But in a society that we currently live in today where people's minds change constantly, we are influenced by whatever post we are seeing at that second on social media. Our desires change. We are constantly square pegs and round holes. We've got to rethink how we do business. We've got to think about how we deliver music and what the fan base actually wants, framed by the experience of the society that we now live in. I think a lot of times, business owners, artists, try to limit the availability of options and choice when it comes to our customers. Think about it this way in the music business terms. Forever, the music business has been, okay, we're going to put out one single. That single is going to last 12, 16, 18, 24 weeks. And then we're going to come with another one. And then 26 weeks later, we'll come with another one. And then eventually we'll have an EP or an album. Meanwhile, you left your fan base a long time ago. They are way back there in the rearview mirror. If you want to be successful in today's music business, you need to be putting out a single every 6 weeks, 8 weeks at most. People's attention spans are too short to wait for you that long. Again, you are being a square peg trying to fit it in a round hole. It will never work, but yet you keep doing it, and you keep wondering why you're not reaching the level of success that you think you should be reaching. It's because sometimes you may be giving the fans what they want, but I give you this. I say you're giving them what they wanted 6 months ago or what they wanted a year ago. You as a business owner advertising a product or service, you may be advertising that product or service that they wanted 3 months ago or 30 days ago. You've got to be relevant in the moment today and give your customers and or fans the ability to use the choice that they're given. Because see, they are in control. We often think that we're in control. We are not in control. I'm going to give you the perfect example. This podcast. I don't know if you guys think that I come up with this stuff and just pull it out of my ass. Sometimes I do. I will be honest. Sometimes I do. 99.9% of the time, that is not the case. You guys don't see the hundreds of emails I get every week and the hundreds, if not thousands, of direct messages across all social media platforms. Steve, I want to know more about this. Can you talk about this? Will you tell me more about this? I need to know how to do this. How does this apply to what I'm trying to do? I use those as topics and framework for what I want to do on this podcast, because there was a time whenever I thought, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to tell them to do it this way because I'm the host, I'm the one that matters, and it's all about me. I was wrong. Because I have to create the kind of content that you guys want to watch. And the only way, or listen to, the only way that I know how to do that is to take your ideas. I stopped being the square peg trying to fit it into a round hole. I finally realized that the easiest way to get my message across is to be a round peg that fits a round hole. The only way to do that is to listen to my fan base, listen to my customers, listen to those of you that spend your valuable time in listening and or watching the podcast. If I give you the content that you tell me that you want, you'll watch it and you'll listen to it. Why is that such a hard concept for business owners and artists, really anybody really to understand, appreciate, or at least implement a little bit of in your process, in your career, in your business? I'll tell you why that is. I'll use myself as an example. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. You will very rarely, matter of fact, if I'm ever driving around, if I'm ever in Los Angeles or here in Nashville or Utah, wherever I might be, and you are an avid listener of this podcast or viewer of the podcast on YouTube or Facebook, and you see me in the passenger side of a car, call the police, because I have been kidnapped. And I desperately want to get back to my family. I like to drive. I like to be the one in control. I know where I'm going. I know how to get there. I know the exact route that I want to take. I don't need any backseat drivers. I don't need anybody over here telling me to turn here. It's shorter. I know where I'm going. I'm in control. My hands are firmly and gripped so tight on that wheel that you couldn't jar them loose even if you tried. We use that mentality in every aspect of our life and business. Every time. We love to be in control. We like to think that we are controlling the outcome or the destiny, the destination, if you will, of where it is that we're going. You will start to succeed more when you realize that you are completely 110% wrong. If you think you're in control, that is why you're failing. That is why you are not where you want to be, because you may be behind the wheel. You may have a tight grip on the steering wheel, but you are driving in the wrong direction. You have to go and be and make available and provide what there is a demand for. The problem that we as business owners, entrepreneurs, and artists face is that demand changes on a minute-to-minute basis. The way to counteract this, I think, is to offer the choice to our customers. Offer the direction and give them the wheel for just a minute and let them drive Let them take you and your product or your service where they want it, where they feel most comfortable with it, where they are going to use it the most, because we're not using our own shit, right? We make products and we offer services for other people, not for ourselves. We have to create and promote those products in a way, form, and fashion that the people that are actually going to consume them and use them feel most comfortable. How are they going to use them? What box are they going to put them in? It's very important. If you can get your mind around this and actually start to change the way that you think about this, I promise you, you will see new heights to whatever it is that you're doing. I don't care if it's music business. I don't care if it's real estate. I don't care if it's retail. I don't care what it is. If you will turn the power of choice over to your customer, over to your client, over to your fan, they will take you where you want to go. It is impossible for you to take it there. Impossible. It's getting up every day and banging on a brick wall that's not going to go anywhere. Stop doing that. Give the people that matter the most the power of choice and decision. Now, here's where you can keep your hands slightly on the wheel a little bit. I see often sometimes business owners and artists, they kind of embrace this philosophy, but they give their customers too many options. And most of the time, this is the psychology of choice. When people are presented with too many options, they do one of two things. They get frustrated immediately and make no decision, or they completely shut down. And the first often leads them to making the wrong decision. How many times have you done that? How many times have you walked into a grocery store thinking that you wanted a Red Baron pizza and you winded getting something else because there's too many choices, and then you get home and you make whatever it was that you got and you sit there and it's 30 minutes after you ate and you're sitting there and you're thinking, fuck, I wish I'd have just gotten the Red Baron pizza that I went in there for. I've done that. I've done that with studio equipment. I've done that with cars. I've done that with houses. I've done that on every scale you can possibly imagine, down from the gum that I chose to buy at the convenience store all the way up to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in houses. I've done it. So one way to keep your hand on the wheel is to limit choices, limit availability to create demand. If you offer too much, the demand will go down. So think about that very carefully. Limit the choices. Give them the power of choice, but limit the choices so that they don't get frustrated and get something that they don't really want, or that they shut down and they don't engage at all. Limit the availability, limit the choices, create demand, start shaving the corners off of your square peg to where it actually fits the demand of the round hole. And some of you guys, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, dirty-minded motherfuckers, I can tell you. I know what you're thinking right now. Get off of that. We're being serious here. Anyway, sorry, I took it there, but you're thinking it. Don't look at me that way. Don't make that face at me. You're thinking it. I just said it. Limit the availability of the choices, and you will see the demand increase. You artists, think about this. What's the harm in going, guys, I've got 3 songs. I don't know which one I want to be the next single. I'm going to let you choose. Here's 30 seconds of each one. Y'all vote on it. Put it down in the comments or send me a DM. Let me know which song you want. The one that gets the most votes or the most comments, that's the one I'm going to put out next. What's the harm in doing that? Now, the traditional method of the music business says, oh, but now you're burning other songs. You're letting them know you're not building any anticipation. There is no anticipation anymore. If you're not giving it to them, they will go somewhere else and get it from there. And I'm going to say this, and it's going to hurt some feelings. But one of the fundamental understandings that you need to have as a business owner, especially an artist, is you are not that important to your fans or to your customers. Ooh, that's a hard one to swallow. You have placed yourself in a position of making the decisions for them, keeping your hands on the wheel, not giving them any options, not allowing them to exercise choice whatsoever. You're dictating the path. What's wrong with giving them those samples of those 3 songs and going, you guys make the decision? By the way, now that we've picked the single, 300 of you guys voted on this one, so that's going to be the next single. I have no idea which one of these I want the album cover to be. Why don't y'all choose that as well? What is wrong with allowing your fan base or your customer base to tell you exactly what they want? Does it make you any less important or any less or ineffective of a salesperson if you are just selling products to people that tell you that that's what they want? Because McDonald's, Burger King, all of these different places have made billions of dollars serving exactly what customers want. Those businesses will also tell you that they went through a period of thinking of grabbing the wheel and thinking that they knew what's best, and they started expanding their menus, and freaking Burger King now offers tacos and Taco Bell's offering hamburgers. Their business goes down because that's not what you go to Burger King for. That's not what you go to Taco Bell for. You go to those places for those specific things. Think of it in church terms. You're a member of a church. If you all of a sudden showed up on Sunday and 30 minutes of the service was going to be about Buddhism, the next 30 minutes was going to be about Islam, and then the next 30 minutes was going to be some other religion, you would quit going to that church because you go to that church for a specific brand. You go there for a reason. Why do we all think about that and acknowledge that and go, yeah, Steve, that's true, that's right. But yet we operate our business exactly like that church that would have multiple different messages, multiple different theologic sermons within one church. But yet we often operate our businesses just like that. We can't give them too many choices. We have to narrow it down. What this does, if you will do this in your business or if you're an artist in your music career, what this will do, this will allow your audience to do the most valuable thing that they can ever possibly do with you, and that is engage. How many times have I told you it is not enough to have a fan base? It is not enough to have a customer base, even a large fan base or customer base. You need an engaged fan base, an engaged customer base. I would rather have 1,000 engaged fans and listeners and viewers than 100,000 passive, because I can do more for and get more from those 1,000 people than I ever could 100,000. It's just the way that it is. So we need to get to a place where we're comfortable enough to take our hand off the wheel and give the power of choice over to the people that really matter, that when we let them exercise that choice, we don't have too many options. We limit it down so there's a demand. But when we give them that choice, they actually make a choice that they are comfortable with. You allow that round peg to fit in the round hole. It's of the utmost importance. Think about this example for a second. I know in my house, I can make decisions for my career at the drop of a hat. I can make decisions on whether I want to purchase a particular car or a piece of studio gear or a new computer or what we're going to do about this situation at my daughter's school. Or I can make those decisions at the drop of a hat with no issues, no problem whatsoever. But if you're ever standing in my living room at 10:30 in the morning and the question gets thrown out, what do you want for dinner? My wife knows that is the thing that I get most aggravated and pissed off at the most. What do you want for dinner? There's going to be 4 different opinions. Nobody can agree on anything. The options are too much. Do we want American? Do we want Mexican food, Chinese food? Do we want to stop at the store and get something to cook? Do we want subs? If we want subs, do we want Jersey Mike's? Do we want Subway? Do we want which? Do we want, the possibilities are endless. We get overwhelmed. But then again, in the same scenario, if somebody goes, you can have spaghetti, tacos, or pizza for dinner. I'm happy with any of the 3. I like all the 3 equally. And maybe today I feel like tacos. I'm happy. Everybody else is happy. Maybe not everybody else is going to get exactly what they want, but you've also instilled a mindset that says, I'm going to give you the choice more often than not. So eventually it's going to be a spaghetti night. Eventually, it's going to be a pizza night. You get people to engage. Is this making sense? Are you understanding what I'm talking about, what I'm saying here? There is a psychology of choice. And I think if you start to think about this a little differently, whether you're a business owner, whether you're an artist, turning that power of choice over to your customer, over to your fan. Get them to engage, get their opinion, because your product or your service means nothing if it doesn't mean something to them, if it's not usable in the form and fashion in which they want to use it. The intent of use doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you want them to hear this one, or that you want them to buy this one, or that you want them to hire you for this. That doesn't matter. What matters is when and where and how. The most important person in the entire process, the one responsible for your success or failure. That's what matters. That's who matters. How they apply it, how they consume it, when they consume it is the only thing that matters. So you as an artist or a business person, your only priority right now is to figure out how to stop being that square peg. Start shaving off those edges so that you fit where your customers want you to fit best and how they want you to fit best. I promise if you start adopting this philosophy, things in your business and in your life will change dramatically. Yes, it requires you to let your hand off the wheel. It requires that you not have as much control as you've had in the past. It requires you to understand that you are the least important person in the exchange. People are making decisions based on what they are seeing in the current second on social media. There's no way for you to determine what somebody's going to want 3 months from now, what somebody's going to want 2 months from now. People want what they want right now. And in the society that we live in, it's on demand, it's streaming, and it is available right now. If you're not providing it, and you're not providing them the choice to choose you, that's why you're losing, that's why you're not winning, and that's why you're struggling. I understand that it's difficult to turn that power over, but I promise you, Jesus, take the wheel. Be strong enough, be smart enough to realize that it's time for you to let go of the wheel. What did we talk about in an episode a couple weeks ago? Let go, let God. Very, very hard to do. Easy in theory, hard in reality. But I'm telling you, if you want to grow your fan base, if you want to grow your customer base, you want to sell more, you want to reach more, you've got to take yourself out of the position of being in control. You've got to stop dictating exactly what you want people to do, exactly what you want people to buy, and exactly what box you want them to put it in. You have to allow the psychology of choice and the power of the choice of your fans or customers to rule every decision that you make. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you for being here. Don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Leave a written review if you're on Apple Podcast and leave us those 5 stars. Follow me on social media at The Steve Freeman, everywhere on every social media platform. Join my email list. You can do that at thestevefreeman.com, or you can even do it at thestevefreemanpodcast.com. Okay, check those out. Also, the podcast brought to you by artistdevelopmentacademy.com. Brand new course coming out this Friday, Machine for Songwriters and Producers. If you want to know and learn and gain the knowledge of how to use Machine to produce exactly like some of the top producers in the game today, we're going to teach you in this online course, Machine for Songwriters and Producers, taught by your instructor, Adam Siren. He's going to teach you how he used Machine exclusively to create a song that was just used in Showtime's hit show, Shameless. Try saying that 10 times. Showtime's hit show, Shameless. I'm talented, people. I am talented beyond your even wildest imaginations. ArtistDevelopmentAcademy.com. That new course is available this Friday. You can find out all the information there. ArtistDevelopmentAcademy.com. Guys, until the next episode, keep being creative, keep pressing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. See you in the next one.
Thanks for joining us for the Steve Freeman Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow Steve on social media at The Steve Freeman.